This budget deal, details are still trickling out about, has very little wins for progressives, for the left, despite the fact that the Democrats control the Senate and the presidency. It's a little bit undercut when the Democratic administration admits that they also want border militancy and more funding for our military industrial complex. CNN's Manu Raju put this Twitter thread up here, and these are kind of like what, because I guess this negotiation was happening late into the night last night, and this is what the Democrats are touting for their wins. $1 billion increase for child care and health funding for cancer and Alzheimer's research. No Republican, so like rejecting Republican cuts here. I mean, it means Republicans didn't get this, but that I don't understand how that's something they gained. It's interesting framing here. So teachers' jobs are not cut, which Republicans wanted. Republicans didn't get limits on reproductive health. There are 12,000 more special immigrant visas for Afghans. That's good. And $1 billion in climate change and resilience activities for the DoD. Okay, so
climate change preparation through the Pentagon.
Exactly. But I mean, so, that's it? Maybe we'll hear more, but that was what Congressman DeLauro put out there. But for the Republicans, this is what Mike Johnson had to say about what they achieved. An increase in funding for the Department of Homeland Security for border security and enforcement. Increases ICE detention bed capacity. Funds more border patrol agents, the highest level ever funded. Cuts 20% of funding for NGOs. Increases Department of Defense spending. Overdue pay raises for the troops. I'm glad the troops are getting paid more. Although there's a lot of evidence to show that, so much waste in the Pentagon could be reallocated to paying our troops a ton more. We could be paying the troops a ton more and giving them better health care, but instead that goes to, contracts to Lockheed Martin and things like that. Prohibits funding for the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Reaffirms our commitment to Israel by funding an annual security commitment of $3.3 billion, basically saying, don't worry, Israel, we'll continue funding you.
Help in this genocide. Thank you.
Thank you. That's our annual contribution to them, just saying, I know we've been touting, hoping for $14 billion more for you to continue your genocide. Biden is slow walking that at this point, and the Democrats seem to be kind of putting the brakes. But don't worry, you'll still get your annual dole from us. And if we could just put that back up again, because I can't see this bottom part here. Only allows for the American flag and official. Okay, this is stupid. But go to the second page here, because there are 2 pages of what the Republicans are touting. Cuts 6% of overall foreign aid funds, including enhanced and new conditions on assistance to organizations like the UN. Eliminates funds to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, until March of 2025, until the budget is discussed again. Rescinds $20 billion from Biden's enhanced IRS expansion enforcement, meaning like that was the money that was supposed to be used to go after wealthy people who cheat on their taxes. Am I crazy here? Or do these budgetary items seem much more tilted towards the Republican side than the Democratic side? Am I insane? Because let's go back. I put what apparently the Democrats are happy about up again. I'm happy we're researching cancer. I'm happy.
$120 million. That's like half a baseball player.
Exactly right. So Shohei Ohtani's going to make that in 3 years if he's not suspended for gambling, and that's a whole other story. That is astounding to me, and the deadline is midnight, basically, 11:59 p.m. on Friday, so that's tomorrow. And there's not going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to read this or There will be no opportunity, I imagine, to add anything of substance to this. So this is a right-wing.
This is a mass murder
concession.
Bro.
Yeah,
the
and then that
stuff
too.
Is,
right.
Mass murder. And entire America's like as complicit as Israel. This is not just Israel doing something and we can't control it. This is affirmatively saying, Gazans, we're starving you along with Israel.
A reminder that because the Palestinian people have been under occupation for decades and do not have sovereignty and the ability to have their own state and their own infrastructure and resources, UNRWA within Gaza has been the way that education and healthcare and medicine is distributed. It's basically their societal infrastructure, a significant portion of it. And without UNRWA funding, you're enabling the mass starvation of Palestinians as we try to airdrop aid in a fraction of what is needed.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. And we're building a temporary port near Gaza to get aid in when it's the question is, I saw this quote actually in Mother Jones. It was from, I saw this yesterday and it was a really, really good one from the former ambassador to, I think it was Algeria and Syria, last name Ford. Can't find the quote here, but essentially he was saying that this is the biggest humiliation of the United States by Israel that could possibly
but we can't think
he could
about
possibly
it like that
imagine.
Anymore. We're doing
that's
it with
his
them.
I agree.
Yeah.
But the point is just like the idea that the United States is so infrastructurally and indelibly connected through our systems of weapons and through our foreign policy to maintaining this settler colonial apartheid state to the point that they can flip us off and say, we're going to keep humiliating Biden to his base that is furious at him right now by by slow walking aid, not allowing it in. Chris Van Hollen went there and saw it with his own eyes. Not allowing aid through by land the most efficient way and enabling the starvation of them to death. And
They're
then this
stopping food.
this budget is no, but this budget explicitly says no, we actually kind of want that anyway.
Which is like, let's just make it clear. This, like, again, all this talk about Biden being embarrassed, and no, this is policy of the American government.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of right there, which is that. Here we go. This is the quote. Thanks, Bradley. Right. If Israel were letting in enough aid, the United States would not be airdropping food into Gaza and building a temporary port in Gaza. Ford has called the airdrops the greatest humiliation of the United States by Israel he has ever seen. He is struck by the fact that the U.S. is acting as if it is trying to get supplies into besieged people surrounded by an enemy of the United States.
I mean, what we would do in that case is bomb the IDF, which is what we should be doing if they're starving people intentionally. And instead, we're actually just backing them up with policy.
I mean, at the very least, we should we should be not funding them. We should be removing our diplomatic cover for them. But
it's not like again, like even like they're stopping aid. They're stopping food. They're stopping water to getting into people. This is like the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is. It is. Absolutely. And we have learned no lessons from the genocides of before
No, we're having hypothetical conversations about maybe a transfer could be peaceful under the right circumstances with complete dilettantes.
Yeah, it's deeply sick. So this is probably the budget. This is probably what's going to go through because there will be sufficient numbers of Democrats in the House to get it over the finish line, even with the Freedom Caucus and progressives.
I just remembered this segment wasn't supposed to be about Gaza.
I know. I tried to bring it home here, but look, if this is not on your mind,
that's the context. That's the context. All this is happening. We're doing a genocide with Israel.
Yes, that is the context of our. I can't imagine a more urgent conversation about politics, and it's way more important than electoralism.
And just we have two conservative
political parties
Yes.
where one in their budget priorities is saying like, oh, Head Start, like, which I'm not even saying this stuff isn't important, but it's like one is
It's peanuts.
But one is a single page for like peanuts, as Matt alluded to, like literally like baseball contract money for certain priorities, and the other one is saying we hoorah, we just banned a UN relief agency from getting funding from us,
and now we'll also be blocking migrants from coming and increasing militancy so they die along our borders as
Mission
well.
accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
We're in the midst of a fascist slide, and the election of Biden in 2020 slowed it maybe a few percentage points, but we're looking at a very dark century ahead if things don't straighten out.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly right. But on the other hand, perhaps if we elect Trump for a second time, we will get a socialist president next time, because that's what I was told by some idiots online would be the result of Trump winning in 2016, that the next Democratic president would be Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren was a specific mention
by some people, yes, but even someone to the left of that, no, that's not how this works. As horrific as Biden is, accelerationism is not the answer. However, this is a deeply, deeply depressing kind of indication of the state of American politics right now.